Welcome to the Cinema Gold Show. I am your host, Larry Leese. And on today's episode of the Box Office Report, we break down the latest numbers from the box office from the past weekend, as well as give our review of the latest episodes to air on streaming. But before we begin, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Poddex, for sponsoring this episode. You can check them out today at poddex.com. Use the promo code Larry21 for 10% off your order. So now let's get right to it, shall we? Doctor Strange 2 has suffered one of the worst drops in MCU history at the box office. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, among others, has been released in theaters across the globe. Audience flooded the cinema last weekend, with the film earning $187.4 million domestically and $265 million globally. The buzz around the Sorcerer Supreme sequel was loud, especially after the juggernaut success, monetary and critical, of Spider-Man No Way Home. Couple that with the return of director Sam Raimi to comic book movies and the never-ending list of possible cameos, and Doctor Strange 2 became the 11th highest grossing opening weekend of all time. However, it's not all rainbows and sunshines for Marvel's witty wizard. The Direct's review said, quote, "The simplistic nature of the plot does make it come off as goofy at times, and the lack of deep diving will leave some disappointed." Doctor Strange 2 currently sits at 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, not certified fresh, and has a cinema score of B+. The lack of overwhelmingly positive word of mouth after a white-hot opening is a recipe for disappointing second weekend. Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness grossed $16.7 million on Friday, dropping a steep 81% from the $90.7 million earned domestically during its opening day. This marks the second worst second Friday drop for an MCU movie. Projections have the film dropping around 65 to 69% again this weekend, eyeing a gross of 60 to 65 million. Back in December, Spider-Man No Way Home suffered an incredibly steep drop during its second Friday, 83.9%, but that was during Christmas Eve. That Friday drop didn't seem to factor in much, as Tom Holland's third Spidey flick is the third highest grossing movie of all time at the domestic box office. So the question remains, does Multiverse of Madness have legs to carry it? Current projections have the Multiverse of Madness totaling its domestic run between 380 to 405 million. A wide range, but let's narrow that down. Captain America Civil War was released on May 6, 2016. Chris Evans' the third Captain America film grossed $179.1 million on its opening weekend. 6 years later, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was released on May 6th and grossed $187.9 million. 3 weeks later, X-Men Apocalypse was released on May 27th. In 3 weeks, Top Gun Maverick will fly into theaters on May 27th. Was Apocalypse a success? No. Will Top Gun 2 be more successful? Probably. Captain America Civil War completed its domestic box office run, earning $408 million. The Chris Evans-led threequel also had a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and received an A grade from Cinema Score. It's like comparing apples to oranges, but if they were both plucked from the same tree. The general consensus so far is that Multiverse of Madness did not live up to the hype and will hurt it in the long run. But that doesn't mean it won't be a big earner. If it stays on track, Multiverse of Madness can shrink its total domestic range between 395 to 405 million. Failing anywhere within the range would make it the 10th highest grossing MCU film in North America. That's a realistic goal after becoming the 7th highest grossing opening weekend in Marvel Studios history. And of course, you can catch Multiverse of Madness in theaters today. And now let's dive into our next topic. We now have a date for the 2023 Oscars. The date for next year's Oscars ceremony has been announced by the Academy. The 2022 Academy Awards took place on March 27th. where winners including Will Smith, Kenneth Branagh, while Dune took home the most awards of the night due to its wins in the technical categories, and Coda defeated Power of the Dog for Best Picture. Perhaps the most memorable and discussed moment of the night was in the most unfortunate and incidental manner when Smith slapped presenter Chris Rock for making a joke about his wife moments before he won Best Actor. Smith is now banned from the Oscars for a decade and will not be presenting the Best Actress category next year, as it is per tradition with the Oscars. Now, per Oscars, the 95th Academy Awards will take place March 12th, 2023, with the nominations announced January 24th. The Academy has also announced key dates, including eligibility periods, final voting, and special events, such as the Oscar Luncheon and the Governor's Awards, where Samuel L. Jackson and Danny Glover will be bestowed honorary Oscars this year. Key dates for the Oscars include general entry category submission deadlines to be November 15th, 2022. The Governor Awards will be November 19th. Preliminary voting begins 9 a.m. on December 12th, with an end on December 15th at 5 p.m. The nomination votings begin at January 12th, 2023 at 9 a.m., ending on January 17th at 2023. And the Oscars nomination announcement will be made January 24th, 2023. And, of course, the 95th Oscars will be Sunday, March 12th, 2023. Aside from the slap incident that overshadowed the rest of this year's ceremony, the Oscars have been deep into several controversies that were implemented in the show in an attempt to boost audience viewership. This included the contest of Oscar fan favorite and cheer moment, where Army of the Dead and Zack Snyder's Justice League won, and the removal of 8 technical categories from the live telecast to make room for those moments. They also removed multiple musical numbers to shorten the ceremony time. The plans ultimately proved unsuccessful as ratings resulted in the second lowest Oscars in history, and the ceremony lasted almost 4 hours. While it is uncertain what next year's show will look like, there are many films vying for recognition at the awards, including Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans, Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, But time will tell what nominations will be for the 2023 Oscars. But there is your official date. Let us know in the comment section below. Do you have any thoughts on potential nominees? Is there a certain film you've seen so far that deserves a nomination? Let us know your take in the comment section below. And now on to our next topic. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Episode 2. Star Trek Strange New Worlds' second episode is a near-perfect balance of character moments and a charmingly simple adventure of the week. The second installment is as delightfully entertaining as the series premiere, highlighting the fabulous chemistry of this cast and various groups, permutations, and fulfilling the franchise's promise to the letter, seeking out new life and new civilizations, and maybe giving them an unseen helping hand along the way. The beats of this episode are pretty basic. The Enterprise is studying an ancient comet, which suddenly seems poised to strike and largely destroy an M-class planet in their Persephone system, wiping out the non-warp capable species known as the Daelib that live there. Pike and friends are determined to figure out a way to divert the comet's path. But when they learn it's not actually a comet at all, they'll have to deal with the threat from a highly advanced species that calls themselves the Shepherds, whose entire existence is predicated on preventing anything from interfering with their so-called arbiter, who brings life or destruction in its wake. One of the most appealing aspects of Star Trek as a franchise is that it understands how much we as a species don't and can't know. The Enterprise's remit is to find out what's out there among the stars, and it's the epitome of hubris to assume that the things we'll encounter on that journey will be creatures that are remotely familiar to us. For me, Trek aliens are and should be weird and unknowable in a lot of ways. See also the glow cloud-esque species 10C in the most recent season of Star Trek Discovery, and they should have beliefs and cultures that are often widely different from our own. Part of the joy of this journey is the discovery, after all. Yes, this hour concludes with a classically ridiculous example of a plan that should not work at all, but does. During a mission where not everyone should survive, but in which everyone comes home, no real worse for wear thanks to what is essentially blind luck. The dangerous moments are thwarted via general smarts and teamwork. A grand plan to save the day is hatched at the hinges on an unknown alien race, defaulting to the peaceful choice rather than violence. And almost every major character gets something decent to do. It's basically everything you expect from a story like this. But what makes Children of the Comet work is that it's not just an episode about the weekly adventure. It's about how that weekly adventure informs and changes the lives of these characters in the long term. We get to see Cadet Uhura's first ever away team mission, but although her linguistic skills certainly come in handy when it comes to figuring out the music-based communication method that the Relic uses, it's all really a large metaphor for her personal journey, which is figuring out that she has a place and a future in Starfleet. Let us know in the comment section below, what did you think of episode 2 of Strange New Worlds? And now, on to our unsurprising topic. Top Gun Maverick has been certified fresh with a near perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes. If you need to make a bona fide blockbuster in 2022, apparently, Tom Cruise is still your man. First feedback to Top Gun Maverick is finally here, and critics think the film has all the makings of a massive crowd pleaser. The long-delayed Top Gun sequel is officially certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, with a near-perfect score of 90% as of the time of this episode. Paramount celebrated the achievement yesterday with a Twitter post prominently displaying the aggregate site's coveted certified fresh badge. As of this episode, the title has 89 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, with only 3 that are overall negative. That's an impressive show of support for the sequel and bodes well for Top Gun Maverick when it opens in theaters May 27th. In comparison, the highest grossing release so far, The Batman, holds an 85% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And that's the best Rotten Tomato score of any major domestic box office hit this year. Among the rest of the year's top 5 biggest movies, The Lost City holds a 79% critical score, while Multiverse of Madness is at 74%, Sonic 2 is positively reviewed by 68% of critics, and Uncharted ended up with a damaging 41%. Critics are considerably more gaga over Top Gun Maverick than any of the year's most lucrative movies so far, and the movie seems poised to win big with audiences too. In a cinema landscape that's unstable at best, this sounds like a pretty resounding win for all involved. And as we know, Top Gun Maverick follows a new batch of fighter pilot recruits as they train under Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell, who is still stubbornly staying in the sky and avoiding his superiors. Attempts, I should say, to give him a job on the ground. Among them is Lieutenant Bradley Rooster Bradshaw, the son of Maverick's late bestie Nick Goose Bradshaw. It took Cruise over 30 years to strap back into the F-18 for one last ride, but it sounds like the actor held out for a sequel that honors the original in every way while presenting a new side of a familiar story. The movie serves as a Maverick-esque act of rebellion against the very concept of time itself. Ben Pearson writes in his /film review, quote, "in a celebration of Cruise's continued commitment to risking his life on screen for our entertainment." Of course, Top Gun Maverick, I should say, is flying into theaters May 27th, and some locations will have early screenings on May 24th. If you want to support the show, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. Your support helps the channel grow, increase our upgrade our equipment, hire new writers and hosts. And as always, we just launched a new merch store. You can check it out today. The link is in the description. You can find a couple of design t-shirts for you to support the channel. When you buy those shirts, that helps the channel also grow. So you can check that out today. Link is in the description. And also, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.